This is my response to the tag I received last week from Noel Inquisitor in the RPG tag video response chain, originally started by Roll for Initiative. It's taken me a little while to get to it. There are 15 questions, and I will defy everyone's expectations and keep it brief. What was the first system you've played? Basic Dungeons and Dragons. Keeping it brief. I started playing Dungeons and Dragons in 1983. I started out with a very old box set, the maroon version, but we mixed and matched all the existing box sets at the time. So let's just say basic D&D. First character. For the first character I played through, he didn't die. Started out as a fighter, but I always viewed him as a thief. He kind of reminds me of Conan in that way. His principal skills were combat, and yet it seems the only thing that we ever did was steal things. Favorite system. I've been gaming for more than 30 years. I have a lot of favorite systems. Right now, the system that really fires my creativity is Ubiquity, but I spend most of my time playing Fantasy Flight games, Star Wars, and Design Mechanism's RuneQuest 6. All of these games I love playing. If I were to make my own game right now, I would want to do it using Ubiquity. But then the more I say this, I think about, Catalyst games, A Time of War. So a lot of games I love. It's hard to pin it down. I'm going to say Ubiquity. Favorite character I've played. Restricting myself to just one character as a GM. A lot of my characters are important to me because I run games much more often than I get to play them. But picking one character, I would say one that I ran in an Aberrant game was a character who was a B-movie actor and a television actor who had done a long-running superhero TV program, not unlike something like Highlander, right? Ran for a long time and destroyed the credibility of the actor. He was never going to do anything else. He reached a low point in his life and committed an act of self-destruction, which ended up in his eruption. If you know about the Aberrant role-playing game, sometimes periods of great personal stress or danger would cause the heroic to erupt within them, activating their superpowers. And what did he erupt into? The hero he became was exactly the hero he'd played on TV. And the Game Master was cool enough to let me explore the duality of character that caused. Who am I really? And the desire to be a hero, but who was being the hero? The actor or the hero. He was kind enough to let me explore that within the context of the high action adventure mystery kind of combination he had going. So that was awesome. Currently, my favorite character that I've played. Least favorite character I've played was in D&D game, one of the last ones that we played. We were going for comedy. I mean, intentional, slapstick kind of Dungeons and Dragons. We just played Paranoia, and it was an experiment on the Game Master's part. I didn't enjoy it. We were in like the Castle Greyhawk module. We encountered gummy werebears, and it was just not my thing at all. Character I created was a paladin. He was known as Ashley the Stout and Pure-Hearted, and you had to call him by the whole title. He wore plate mail of shiny brightness, which was referred to as the plate mail of shiny brightness. And he was armed with just this heirloom sword. It was +1. We were playing AD&D first edition, a +1 sword, but it was +5 versus peasants, which will give you some insight into this character and the way that he walked around lording it over people. I hated pretty much every minute of it. Favorite world. I'm getting a lot of enjoyment out of the world that I'm creating in concert with the guys I'm playing RuneQuest with. It's a very collaborative experience. In terms of like non-self-created worlds, I would have to go with any setting that provides me with this world with a twist. I really like the twist part of that. I like adventuring in the real world. I like the real gritty context it gives to the players, and the way that empowers us to be more descriptive and more proactive in gaming. A counter to that, of course, is that a very, very well-known and beloved property like Star Trek or Star Wars or Aliens, Blade Runner, something like that, can work just as well. Favorite die type? I have a great fondness for dice. I'm really enjoying the narrative dice in FFG's Star Wars. I don't think they're my favorite. I guess, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to receiving my D9s from Impact. I'm sure they're going to be a hoot. I like my Sirko dice, the 2d6 that don't look like 2d6. I'm going to go with D12. Take that. Miniatures or theater of the mind. It's really always been theater of the mind for roleplay. I do wargaming, skirmish games, tactical war games, that sort of thing. I don't really need to mix and match. I don't feel any real need to run combat or run exploring in a role-playing game with miniatures. I do like to offer my players of specific games the opportunity to bring miniatures combat into things. Like I would use my version of X-Wing to mesh with Star Wars. I frequently bring BattleTech into MechWarrior as much as I can. But those properties, have arisen from, or the role-playing game has arisen from or around miniatures-based play, and that's why I like to incorporate it. But if I'm just doing a fantasy game, or if I'm playing Call of Cthulhu or something else like that, I never feel the compulsion for miniatures. Worst critical glitch or failure in a game? Yes, the worst one was when we were running Dark Ages Vampire, and our characters had grown very, very frustrated with the tight yoke under which we had to spend our unlives from the elders. And so once we reached the time period in which the Sabbat is arising, we went for it. We thought this would be great. Of course, we as players knew that it wasn't going to be great, and it was terrible. In fact, it was pretty much the same kind of tyranny, just under a different name, and everyone talking about individual freedom and no one really having it. And so we decided, look, we gotta get out of all systems. We gotta be free. And of course, the only way to do that was, of course, to do what we were already doing, which was, diablerizing our elders. And the critical failure in the game was, I finally, and we're talking about a very long period of play, I finally got my hands on an elder that I could diablerize for benefit, but also enjoy diablerizing, and went into a frenzy and just tore the character to pieces. Oh well. Best or favorite critical success in a game. I have a previous video about jumping the Grand Canyon on a rocket cycle playing Top Secret. That's pretty cool. It wasn't actually a critical success, it was just a success, but it sure felt amazing. I guess same character, maybe even the same adventure. We had moved from the Grand Canyon into San Francisco, and that hill that you always see on television overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge, we were up there, and the villain was escaping on a hang glider, and it was getting to be way out of range, and I took a crazy shot and managed to hit him in the left hand, and he's hanging up there, and he stays on the hang glider. It's wobbling. I take another ridiculous shot, and bam, I hit him in the left hand again. It was ridiculously impossible for this to have happened. And he loses his grip, and down he goes into the drink. Did he die? Who knows? It was a spy thriller, but that critical success I've remembered for more than 20 years now. Favorite class? I usually don't play class. Type of character to play. For occupations, I like to play, if it's a new game, I like to play a character that has a very distinct proficiency. Usually this is a support character. I don't like to play the leaders or the front man or the face. I enjoy playing people with a specific skill set, and it doesn't matter what that is, like psychic powers or magical powers or good investigative ability or a lot of languages or whatever. It doesn't matter. I just like to have that hook. I like to be connected to the party in some way, usually by profession, not by friendship or other relationships. In a game that I know really well, I like to take a more generalist character and usually try and figure out a way to build networks. So a character that can expand some sort of in-game property, webs of contacts or buildings or a domain or something like that. Least favorite. There's always something of interest in types of characters, but I guess the least favorite is the least favorite is a complete stereotype. I don't usually use archetypes out of books. I like to build my own characters, so the iconic characters from whatever game I usually find a little dull. One system or setting you've never played but still wanting to play Blue Planet. I really should say that. So that's been on my mind a lot lately. I've gotten to add a lot of games to my list this year, and I intend to keep that moving forward. Yeah, so let's say Blue Planet. If you were to create yourself as a character, what would my occupation be? I doubt out there's a educator, the classroom kind of game. I guess I've got all the skills and a lot of the disposition to be a vigilante, so some kind of superhero game. So yeah, I guess a street level vigilante, or if we could be anything that we wanted to be fantastic if I could cast myself in the occupation of Starship Captain. Who am I going to tag? I wonder if there's anybody left. I think I'm in pretty much the last round. I would like to tag Disemvowel. I would like to tag Guildmaster Dan. And who else would it be interesting to hear from? Yeah, Sirko Ruckmann. Let's hear from those people. I'll put the questions and the people I've tagged down in the comments below. Thanks for tagging me, Noel Inquisitor. I appreciate it, and I hope this has been interesting and short enough for everybody.